Hey guys, I got some Call of Duty Ghosts in the background, and yes, it is going to be a video related to Call of Duty, but also gaming in general. I want to talk about Call of Duty in single player and how Call of Duty impacts this very loved mode for many gamers, but also talk about if a game like Call of Duty really needs a single player component. So let's get off to it. Now, Call of Duty used to be a single player driven game. It actually used to have a long campaign like Call of Duty 1 to 3. Now, if you go watch YouTube walkthroughs, it may not look promising in length, but they probably played it with knowledge, and you're most likely going to finish games in a faster time than playing it blind. I can probably beat Doom 2 on ultra-violence difficulty in like 3.5 to 4 hours long, while my first playthrough of that game was probably around 9 hours. I will admit, I never got to play Call of Duty 1 and 2, but I did play Call of Duty 3's single player and multiplayer modes at the same time, and Call of Duty 3 was around 8.5 to 9 hours long, which is really long compared to Modern Warfare 3, which was around 5.5 hours on hardened difficulty, while I played it on normal difficulty for Call of Duty 3. I wanted to let you guys remember that Call of Duty used to be a different animal than it is today. Remember when it was a World War II series and it was more of a PC game, but nowadays it's very modern or maybe a little bit futuristic, and it's heavily console driven. I've always said that it's basically an Xbox exclusive in disguise. But now I'm going to talk about the single player of today's Call of Duties and how it impacts how it impacts hardcore single-player gamers like me, maybe you, Total Biscuit, and many people out there. It's generally awful. Like, everything that Call of Duty does really annoy a lot of people like me who likes to play a highly polished single-player FPS game. Call of Duty does not have any of that, formula for that type of title. You could say the story is there, but really, man, a storyline, that's not really enough to convince hardcore gamers to play your campaign. If I want story, I'd read a book or watch a movie, to be honest. Call of Duty is not, BioShock or Halo or maybe Borderlands, which is more of a co-op game. But I have to say, playing Borderlands in single player was hell of a lot better than playing any of the modern Call of Duties in single player. Everyone knows that most Call of Duties today love scripted events. They love that Hollywood blockbuster Michael Bay-like experience. It basically tries to be a summer action film, and it's just ridiculous. I'm sure many people like myself can agree that scripted events just make your game more shallow and just even more boring. Like, I remembered I was trying to force myself to finish Modern Warfare 3's campaign because there were so many contrived moments, and I didn't get that feeling where in Halo Reach where I felt motivated to finish the game's campaign because it was actually fun and enjoyable. Now, the older Call of Duties, they used to be, they were scripted too, but it was more like Half-Life. It feels reasonable and it's not thrown into your face so many times. Like, Call of Duty Ghosts literally just does that. I was just really disgusted with the game's campaign. Like, I feel like they made this campaign just to give people who love single-player experiences a huge middle finger, basically. To be honest, if it weren't for the story of Modern Warfare, I would have probably not finished Modern Warfare 3's campaign, but I really wanted to see how it would end. But that's it. There's no reason for me to go back to it when the multiplayer is much more gamer-friendly than the campaign is. So you gotta ask yourself, why does Call of Duty even needs a single-player portion when every diehard fan of the single-player experience hates it? I would love if every Call of Duty game would just be more focused on multiplayer or some sort of co-op like Zombie during the development stage, and I think it would really make, the game better. I've been playing Call of Duty for a while, and every time a Call of Duty game comes out, there's always issues with weapons, perks, spawns, and I'm sure if Infinity Ward and Treyarch could just take that single-player portion out, it would probably be a better multiplayer experience, which is what most of their hardcore fans are into. And I'm sure the game would have less haters, because I know there's people that don't like multiplayer, but if they buy Call of Duty, they're not going to get their money's worth, like BioShock or even Rage, because those games got what it takes to be a single-player driven game, and it's much more competent compared to Call of Duty. I will admit, I'm one of those guys who would play a FPS game if it's single player first before I play multiplayer. It's always single player for me because it's my favorite mode to play it when it comes to these games and the genre itself. But I have to say, Call of Duty is the only franchise where I don't even care about the single player and I just jump onto the multiplayer. I remember I tried to get into the campaign for Black Ops, and let me tell you, I couldn't finish it. It was too boring and just too contrived, really. I really think they could have, just took the campaign out and add more maps for Black Ops multiplayer and fix the spawns, because I remember the spawns were so bad on launch day for Black Ops 1. For Ghosts, it's really the same thing, man. I don't think I'll even touch the campaign and my achievements will remain 0. But then again, when I play a game, I want to have fun, and fun is where the multiplayer is. Here's another thing. Every time there's like a campaign related content that gets released publicly, all the hardcore Call of Duty YouTubers, they don't really care. They don't really, make a breakdown video or something like that. But when it comes to multiplayer, you see everyone doing it.